But anyway, Katie, happy 1 year anniversary to the BFF Bookcast.
Oh my God, happy 1 year. I was going to say, when
So,
exactly was it? But we're
so
at it.
apparently, I don't know if maybe I'm assuming that I just like we normally upload on Wednesday mornings. Sometimes I fuck up and I just upload it Tuesday night. And I think the first one was a fuck up because I was looking at like I scrolled back. I was like, all right, what was the exact date of episode 1? And it was June 14th of
Oh my
2022.
gosh. So we're literally
And
almost a year.
well, yeah, like I mean, we're recording on the 13th, but this will post on the 14th, so it's exactly 1 year of the BFF
Look at us.
Bookcast.
And everyone loves us so much, I'm sure. they're not sick of our cackle yet.
No, it's I think that we have more fans than just our moms.
Look at us go.
I know. All the like, I mean, I listen every week to it because I need to be embarrassed of the way that I sound and the things that I say. Um, but we have more than one listener, so at least I know that it's not just me.
It's so true. Thank God. Thank God. Wait, are
But
you
yeah,
sure
so
we didn't do book lovers on June 1st? I'm looking at
no,
it.
it says 6/14.
Huh. Fascinating.
Oh, you know what?
It's
We
6/1.
originally uploaded everything. Yeah, I was going to say we originally uploaded everything onto Apple and then we moved over to the new platform
That's true.
on the
That's
14th.
okay.
You know what? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's a year.
It's a year and
Happy
we
1 year to us.
happy 1 year and 2 weeks to us basically. But yeah, I figured that we can go through everything that we've done this year. And then we could just talk about obviously what we're currently reading, what we've been reading lately. But Katie already mentioned it. Episode 1
Book
was Book
lovers.
Lovers by Emily Henry.
It was. I loved that book.
I don't want to say that it was my favorite of the year that we've done, but
Okay.
it's a top 5 episode for me.
I have to agree with that.
I think just
Um,
because I like the book was so good.
I just find that, and like I know I said this in like the past episodes. So I don't want to keep like be a beating a dead horse over here and like repeating the same stuff over and over again. But the way Emily Henry writes, I feel like I know I say this a lot about a lot of books where you could feel like you're a part of everything and you're with the characters, but like it always seems very realistic. Realistic. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of
Yes.
contemporary romances kind of feel that way, but at the same time too, they're not to say they're not billionaires in the world and like things like that, but like they're less likely to happen, or like certain things in the stories where like now you just inherit all this money and like can do everything to like a house, and like I don't know, like there's just it happens, and I'm not doubting that, but like it's just not common. So I feel like
Right.
Emily Henry's very like average folk.
Yes.
And you can relate a little bit easier.
I was going to say you can relate to her books. I feel like there's always something that you're like, "Oh, I like for lack of a better word, like relate to that character or relate to that."
Yeah.
Even if it's just like a small part, like a quote that somebody says, you can kind of always find a way to relate it back to your own life. And
Yes.
I feel like all of her characters, like I could see them living out in the world.
Yeah. Agreed. That's why I really enjoy it. Book Lovers is a top favorite of mine for our podcast, and I would say top. It's not my favorite of Emily Henry so far, but it's I think like number 2.
It's number 2 for me. But I'm going to do the audio because I feel like it could be number 1, but I just like need to like revisit it. And like maybe this is my sign.
Maybe it is your sign, and then you can let us know.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Our second book club pick was A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I liked it, but like if you ask me anything about that book right now, I couldn't tell you a single plot point, a single character name, which I can't
She
tell you
makes a
character
deal with the
names.
Elf King.
That's yeah. I think that when we read it, we both gave it like a 3.5.
I think so.
Um, so yeah, like I mean, looking back a year later, I wouldn't say I recommend it because I don't remember
I
it
think I even recommended
whatsoever.
the book on Pango. Beautiful cover.
Yeah, I mean, it was like
it's like an average book.
yeah, I was gonna say it was like a fun read. Like I remember like
Yeah.
enjoying it while I was reading it, but very forgettable.
Yes. but not what's next for the book pick.
No. So this was I would say, my favorite book of the year in 2022. It's an introduction to one of our favorite authors.
Yes.
Book 3 was Funny Feelings by Tara Dewitt. And I don't say this lightly, that book, I have it on a single note. There is like not one thing I would change. There is not like, I was, both of us were just like so fully like immersed and in love with this book.
And I think I know you've reread it. I actually have not reread it yet. You've reread it, I think, a few times.
Yeah.
But for me, who has not read it since reading it the first time, I can still remember like specific plot points. So like, I think when you can recall things like that, it holds a higher standard of like true rating. And we both get 5 stars. But like, it's truly like a 5-star. Like her in that fucking man bikini, like the one that was like the hairy like I remember like vividly like cackling hardcore at this book. It was amazing.
Yes. I don't know how Tara did it, that it was like equal parts hilarious and equal parts like heartwarming.
Yes.
Like it touched on like
super talented.
Yeah, it touched on some like more serious topics, but then it was also like belly laugh funny. And it takes a lot for me. Like I think books are funny, but I don't always like giggle or like show the emotion. I mean, if you guys have been listening since the beginning, you know I don't show emotion whatsoever. But I like actually laughed out loud at this book.
It was so good.
So good.
Really good. If you have not read, that is my favorite. I still have to read Rootbound, and it's like one of those books like I'm dying to get to, but like I just haven't gotten to it.
Yeah.
But it's my favorite of all the books I've read of hers so far.
Yes. So I have read Rootbound. We'll obviously get to the co-op. We did that as a book club pick in October. Rootbound is really good too. I read it on my honeymoon, and I recommend it. I mean, there's something that she gives me Emily Henry vibes where I feel like she just can't write a bad book. Even like if it's like People We Meet on Vacation as like an Emily Henry book is not my favorite, but it's still a good book. I just like don't see Tara being able to just like write a bad book.
Same. Like I put her in my collection of like, now that I like Emily Henry, Devney Perry, like Catherine Cowles. There's like just a couple of authors where like they're in this like little section where I'm like, if I don't know what to read or I need like an audiobook, like who do I need to go to? Like I automatically go to like these authors. That's just
like insta buy author. Yeah,
no matter what.
Like I don't even need to know like what the book's about. If she's putting it out, I'm pre-ordering it and I'm gonna read it right away. Yeah,
exactly. The next was also a top content. The first couple books that we did,
we started very strong.
Glow by Raven Kennedy.
And again, the Plated Prisoner series, so good. And Katie, I read it summer, like the first 3 books I read summer of 2021. And I was on Katie's ass. I'm like, you should read it. You should read it. You should read it. Guess when she read it?
Not the summer of 2021.
I think was it January or February?
I think it was January.
Yeah.
I'm a bitch. You know what it is? And I've
Katie, like,
before. It's like when you start recommending books, 2 things happen. They either like really hype me up and I gotta read it immediately, or when you start pushing like a series, sometimes single books too. It's almost like you have this like overwhelming urge to ensure that you like it because you don't want to like let the person down, but then you also like have this like hype behind it that you're like, I hope it lives up to the hype, but if I don't read it, then I'll never know if it falls short of the hype.
Yeah,
it's my brain.
No, I get it. I'm the same way. I feel like sometimes like you recommend books to me and I'm like, yeah, like I know I want to read it, but now I'm like kind of like, but do I want to read it? Because like what if I don't like it?
Yeah.
Or like what if it doesn't live up?
Hollow Heathens.
Hollow Heathens.
Perfect example, because like I was obsessed with Hollow Heathens. So was Mary.
Yeah.
We told you to read it over and over again, and I feel like you were like afraid to message us because you liked it, but you weren't in love with it like we were.
Right. Yeah. Like I sold it on Pango. I was like, I will never. Like, I don't care to continue the story. It was like it was decent. I gave it like 3.25, which to me is just like mediocre in my mind, but. Yeah, but you guys loved it. And then I was like, almost like felt like either one, something's wrong with me because I don't like it and you did, or I feel bad being like, I'm not enjoying it because I don't want to talk shit on something that like my friends like,
But you're allowed to have your
you
own opinion.
know?
I hear you. We
Yeah,
don't disagree on a lot. There's only a few,
there are only
and
a
that is
few.
one of them. But
But yeah,
moving on.
Glow obsessed. I mean, if you haven't read the
What can you
Plated
say?
Prisoner series, read it. When we started Glow, I thought it was the final book in the series. And like, I got halfway through and I was like, there's no way that this is the final book. And it's not. There is one more book coming out. I don't think Raven has put a date yet for the next book. So if you guys are listening and you haven't read it, you have time.
Yeah, and they're not that long. Like the first two
No.
are short. People always talk about
Yeah.
how they should have been one book. I'm happy that they were two. The third beefs up a little bit in book 4. She's a little thick, but she's not like thick. You know what I mean?
If you've read Zodiac Academy, you
You
can
can do
breeze
this.
through Plated Prisoner.
This is a walk in the park.
Yeah.
Um, Weather
Next we
Girl.
had Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon. Again, underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I thought it was cute. I liked like that the male main character had like he was like a heavier set guy. He wasn't that like typical like I'm super strong and like good looking and like he wasn't that like typical male main character. But he was like he had like they had really great banter. I thought their relationship was cute. I just felt like they felt like more like friends than they did lovers. So I remember us both saying like we didn't buy the romantic part of their relationship.
No, I think the only thing that I enjoyed about that book was the who had anxiety or depression. Someone had depression,
Yes, she did.
and I
And
liked
again,
that.
don't ask us the names.
Please don't ask those names. I'll lose a bet. But I like the representation for the depression aspects.
Yeah.
I like when it touches on things that again that people experience. That's all I remember about it.
And
And she was a weather
I
girl.
thought yes. Well, I was gonna say I thought that the more interesting relationship were
Was her
them
boss.
like was the boss trying to
Yeah.
get the bosses back together. Like I loved that aspect. Like I don't remember their names. Like I liked like the depression and anxiety representation. I liked the two main characters, but I was so much more invested in the relationship of the two bosses
I was
than
with you.
theirs.
Agreed. It was more
Yeah.
realistic, and they like knew that they were trying to set them up, but they were going along with it anyway. And they were married.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all coming back to me now. See, look at this.
Yeah, see?
Oh, look at that. Oh, the Book of Azrael we did next.
We did. And I know that we just recently did book 2 in that series by Amber Nicole. And Throne of Broken Gods is book 2. But Book of Azrael, like it took us by
Slaps.
storm.
It did.
It
I
really
haven't
slaps.
written anything but read. And again, she's a true villain, the female main character, which I really like. But you get so much more in book 2. It's a series, and I'm going to continue. I think I can speak for that with you as well. I really enjoy it. Amber Nicole is just a gem of a human being. So honored to have her on our podcast a couple weeks ago. She was so awesome to chat with. But yeah, I really enjoy that series.
It's an amazing series, honestly. And I think that, again, if you guys have ever listened to us, we never remember shit. I'm pretty sure she said it's going to be like five books total or 7.
I think it was. I really wanted to say 7, but now that you said 5, I don't know, 5 to 7. But she's got like everything mapped out.
She has it all mapped out, and she could put out 1,000,000, and I'm gonna read it because I'm so invested in these characters.
Yes.
And the cliffhanger at the end of the second book just like really
motherfucker. Really put a wrench in you, you know?
it really did.
It really did.
Then I was saying we did Love on the Brain, which Allie Hazelwood's third book just came out actually today.
Yes.
Which I'm dying to get into. Love theoretically. We're not. I don't know. Maybe we could do it. You know what? Offline.
We have a couple things to discuss about because I have some thoughts about that one, and there's Crimson River. Like,
I know there's a lot that came out this week or this month so far. But anyway, Love on the Brain. I loved it. We both liked it more than The Love Hypothesis.
Yes.
My only issue with Love on the Brain was B's fashion choices, which we have another book that I have an issue with the main character's fashion choices as well. I just have a bone to pick with authors in general. Stop dressing your female main characters like it's 2012 and like LuLaRoe is still cool to wear.
LuLaRoe. Oh my god.
Yeah. She was wearing like galaxy like leggings
I
and
mean, she
like
is a nerd, but I hear you.
listen, you're like you could be nerdy and still dress.
I agree.
I don't need her to be a fashionista.
No. Put her
Wear
in like the
like
shit that we wear.
jeans. Yeah, just wear like cute like jeans and like a little t-shirt.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, nobody in 2023 or 2022 when this came out needs to be wearing galaxy leggings. And I'm sorry if you're listening and you have them, go outside, douse them with gasoline and light a match. Okay?
City of Gods and Monsters, Teresa. Give it.
Oh,
This might be our
City
new
of Gods
slogan.
and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. And apologies if Kayla, if you're listening, which I hope to God that you're not. I hated this book so much.
Zero
Like,
disrespect. Zero disrespect.
nothing against the author. I'm sure that she's a wonderful woman. Like, but
And to those who
there's,
like it as well. To each their
you
own.
know,
We did not like this.
you're wrong if you like it. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was. I mean, I don't know if it's like how it's doing now because I just like I just scroll past videos when I see it. I know that it was very popular. I ordered it. I got this 850-page book. I sat here after my surgery, like reading. My like wrists are breaking, and I'm like getting angrier and angrier as
The
as it
female
went
main
on.
character. I think it like we both said this too. It's urban fantasy, which we both really love, so we were pumped about that.
Yep.
I think it held so much potential. And I think there's just too many things going on plot wise. Like she was at school, but like you never got like any aspects of her at school. And like you said this all the time too. Like you don't just hunt for your best friend on the weekends. That's missing. Like you're hunting for a 24/7. So
Yeah, like her best friend is kidnapped in front of
yeah,
her. And she's like, oh, but I have class. So like I can only help the investigation on Saturdays and Sundays.
but then you never get her in class. Like so she's never in class and she's living with that guy who again, we had some potential there, but like then she would become petty because she was a little bitch and like would
Hmm.
like run away, but thank God she was caught before she actually left the premise because if she ended up like crossing a barrier or leaving like a certain part of the land, then like she would have been then she could have been kidnapped and prey and like it would have like exposed this whole like underground operation thingy majiggy.
Yeah, her attitude just like really pissed me off. Like you said, like she was petty. She was always like trying like if she didn't get her way or didn't get like a reaction
Yeah.
out of him, then she was just like out, like wanted to like leave and like would act like a bitch. And
Yeah.
I just have like an issue like she doesn't have any magic and she like is like a weaker like she's just like not like a muscular like
Girl.
badass kind of girl, but she doesn't do anything to help herself. I was like waiting for the point where she was like, I'm tired of being like
Wait,
weak and I'm tired of not being able to protect myself. So like show me, like train me. I'm like waiting for her to be like trained and like turn into this badass. And like
it never
at
came.
the end you get like a little bit, but like not enough to make up for it.
No. I think there
And then
I
okay, I'm
go.
sorry, one more thing,
Go
and then
ahead.
I'll let
Go
you.
ahead. Tell us what else you got going there.
No, okay, and then spoiler alert. I guess if you didn't read it, but like her dog dies saving her, which
Which
again
killed
horrible.
me.
But then they bring the dog back to life as like this like shadow creature. But the way that she like acted about this dog dying, she's like, he's my best. Like it's almost like at first she doesn't care about the dog. The dog like sleeps at the
Yeah.
apothecary shop or wherever the fuck she works like 90% of the time. She finally like gets the dog and then she's like, he was my only friend. Like he's the only friend I have, and literally like becomes this like depressed,
Yeah.
like shell of a person just like crying in bed for like weeks. And like when Winston dies, will I be like devastated and upset and whatever? Yes. But like, will my life move on?
Yes. I can say
Yeah.
for a fact that it does. My dog passed away in January. Was it fucking awful? Yeah.
Yeah.
It fucking sucked. But like couple that with also being 6 months pregnant, your hormones are fucking raging. So I'm not knocking wanting to be in mourning from an animal because they are failing
No.
when they pass.
Yeah,
But
they
like
are.
I just don't think it was I think because the way it was set up, like if you, like you're saying,
Yes.
like you know that there's a dog, but like the dog was never involved because he was like almost like a background character in the apothecary shop that she worked at, and then all of a sudden, like got like you said, got him, but still never really heard about him. But then he passed to save her, which I mean, rest in peace, you little angel. Like, but
Yeah.
didn't. Let's not harp on the negatives. Let's move on.
Okay. Our next episode, we did an ACOTAR books 1 through 3 reread where we had Mary from Roses Are Red on, and we talked, I think, for like 2+ hours.
Doesn't shock me.
No, but honestly, and we went. Honestly, that episode probably is just one, and it's just me. Like, God bless any of you if you listen to that entire episode. I literally like felt like it was like a Joe Rogan podcast. Like, there's no reason for it to have been 2 hours. But we did a reread. Like, I think you did the audio. I read all 3 books. And there's so much you can say about those 3 books. And we did for 2 hours. So if you want to know our thoughts on ACOTAR, go listen to that podcast.
So we don't want to get on a tangent. I was like, we can't.
No.
So in October, we did one like spooky, I guess, book, and it was The Kiss Curse.
And that is the other book that we did that I have an issue with the bad fashion.
That's right. It's the follow-up to what's that book called?
The X-Hex.
Thank you. I
You're
think
welcome.
they were really cute. I think they serve the purpose that they're made for, in my opinion. A little cleanse, if you will.
Yes. Like very
spice.
I was saying just like very cute
surface.
Halloween palette cleansers.
Yes.
Like, or like a book that you just like want to read and like have no thoughts.
Yeah. Like, will I ever read it again? No.
No.
But it worked for the time being, and I appreciate those kind of
like
books.
I wouldn't tell you to like go buy the like the physical copy. Like, read it on Kindle or like go to your library.
Yeah.
You don't need to own it. I feel like you're going to read it and just like not think about it anymore after that.
Like us. But again,
like us.
It serves its purpose.
Yes.
The next book that we did, I think it like aggravates me at least, and I think you can say the same thing too, because I think we both wanted to continue with it but never did.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to. I listened to this on audio, liked it, but like kind of wish I read it. It had action, it had everything. Like it had everything going for it.
Everything that we love about a fantasy romance, and then we just like never picked up the rest of the series.
And now like especially with fantasy books, like it's hard to jump back into a series after you haven't read book 1 in a while. So now I don't know about you, but it's like, does it like, and let's be honest, like once like reread book 1, but like when is that going to actually happen? Like I don't know.
I think that because everybody loves it.
Everybody loves it.
Anyway, we didn't say the name. Daughter of the Drowned Empire.
I was building up the suspense.
Oh, I was like, because I'm just going to jump in. I think maybe I'll re-listen to our podcast episode to get like a refresher on book 1 and then read book 2.
That's a good idea.
I think so. Because, I mean, I really liked book 1.
You liked it, I think, a little bit more than me, but I think I also, like I said, I think I read it instead of listening to it. The audio was phenomenal, but there's certain fantasy books where I think, for me in particular, my mind on audiobooks, you do this all the time. You do more romance, because God forbid you kind of tune out for a second. You're not missing anything. You're hopping right back in. Whereas if you tune out for a second at the fantasy book, like when we were doing House of Sky and Breath, I had to like keep rewinding because I was like, oh crap. Like you and Mary were talking about something in the group chat, and I was like, what did I miss? And I had to go back. Like I was like, uh oh.
But yeah, maybe we have to try to get also because like I'm looking at like what we were doing. Like we were also doing our Zodiac Academy rereads at that time. There was just like I feel like there was just like a lot going on. That was like right before you left for your vacation over in France. So I just feel like it wasn't a good time to jump into a fantasy series.
True.
But now I think there's like 3 or 4 books out. So I'm like,
do you
maybe
take the plunge?
I gotta work through more of my physical TBR. So if anybody wants me to read this series, then you have to buy me these books because I'm on a book buying ban and I'm trying to get through my physical TBR. So I'm like ignoring my Kindle books right now. Um, and I think that these are on free on Kindle Unlimited. I could be wrong.
So,
I think it was on Kindle Unlimited when we read it, but that has been a while. Um, After Daughter of Drowned Empire, we did Zodiac Academy books 1 through 3.
the only thing I have to say about it's not even about 1 through 3. I liked 1 through 3. I also they give me vivid memories of being in Vermont, stuck in a house after coming home from a honeymoon early. We flew from Vegas to Newark, got in our car. We had my in-laws drive in two cars. One of them was mine, so we can get in the car and then drive up to Vermont because we had COVID on our honeymoon. We did test positive before flying from Vegas, just to make everyone aware. But we didn't want to take the risk by like stay because we were living with his parents at the time. I taught my husband's parents. But they're older and like you don't want to get your parents sick. So like we were like, you know what, screw
No.
it, let's just go to Vermont. So we went to Vermont. I wanted to kill myself that day from traveling. Like I literally wanted to hang myself. But what did I do in Vermont? I read books 1 through 3 because you were supposed to wait for me to start Zodiac Academy, and this little bitch over here started without me, so I had to play catch up. So thank God I had COVID. So
I was texting her on her honeymoon and I was like, I know you're on your honeymoon and that like reading is not a priority, but I started Zodiac Academy and like you need to start it.
how do you
I was like,
ignore said text? That's all I have to say.
I was like feral over books 1 through 6.
I think I was
Like,
foaming at the mouth. I didn't do anything, but like Tom was watching the Squid Games, or whatever that you call that, on Netflix, and I
yeah,
just sat there and read.
I have said this a million times. It was my dad had passed away. I was off of work for 2 weeks and I read the Ravenhood series and Zodiac Academy back to back. And it was just like a time of just like
Just
overwhelming emotion.
yeah.
Ask me if I cried. No, not once.
Yeah.
But I just like had all this time off and I was like reading, I was just like going through these like emotional books and I was just like feral for all of them. And I'm just like texting Katie on her honeymoon. I'm like, oh my God, you just got to get home. You got to read these. I need to talk to somebody about these.
Well, you got your wish. I got COVID and came home early, so
Yeah.
but we're not going to keep going with that. But the co-op is the next by Tara Dewitt, and we spoke with Tara Dewitt, which was
Yes, we
even
had
more
her on the
fun.
podcast.
She was
She is like,
another.
I was going to say, like, I love her so much. She's like, obviously we like love her work, but she's so funny in person. She's so sweet, like just like a kind, wonderful human being. And the co-op was so good.
It
It's
was really
like a
good.
second chance, romance, enemies to lovers, like marriage of convenience. There's just so many good things in there, but it's not where it's like corny because there's so many tropes.
Yeah.
She does it so well.
Again, writes in a way that is very realistic, that you
Yeah.
can like insert yourself in. You kind of think they're like real human beings out in the world somewhere, and you want to find them to be friends with them. That's
If
like the
I could
books
be
that she
friends,
writes.
yes. And every time she comes out with a book, she has like an inspo man like in her mind.
Yes.
So for Funny Feelings, it's Chris Evans. And for the co-op, it's Dansby. What's his last name? He's a baseball player. But like once you know who she was picturing while writing these
You
men and
see it.
then like seeing them and then reading it, like
But she does such a good job because even before we knew Chris Evans was the inspo behind
I
Funny
yeah.
Feelings, you could pick it up. Like you could
I
pick
said I
up
texted
who
you and
she
I'm like,
should.
I'm
Yeah,
picturing Chris Evans.
that's
And not in
perfect.
like a I picture him as all male leads. I was like, no, like I am seeing like Nomad Steve, like you know, the beard, like long hair, like Chris Evans from Infinity War. And he has like the long hair and beard in another movie. It's like the Red Sea diving school. There's another movie that is in the he has the same look. And I messaged her and she was like, that's literally
Confirmed.
yes, that's Meyer. And I was like,
Got him good.
got him. After the
Ooh.
co-op, we did a House of Beating
And this
Wings.
is a sleeper series. I don't think this gets enough. I can't talk enough hype because it's
It
really
doesn't.
good.
I feel like we have talked about this series a lot. So, book 2, House of Pounding Hearts, came out in January, and the last and final book in the series comes out at June 29th.
I know there's a lot going on this month.
But House of
It's
Beating Wing,
really
so
good.
good.
It's just it like the first time I read it, like it automatically put me in like I feel like I'm in like the streets of Italy, like very European towns, like cobblestone
Hmm.
streets. Like I think even though it's magical, I think there's just like cool aspects of it. Like she can communicate with serpents, snakes.
Yeah,
No,
like
no, no.
animals.
Like animals in
Yeah.
general. Like there's phantom stuff going on. I don't want to give away too much because I think it's really worth the read. If you like fantasy romance, I don't you know I don't really like when it's like, oh, if you're a fan of this and this, but like honestly, if you're a fan of like just fantasy romance, you really liked ACOTAR, you liked the vibe of it because it's not obviously urban. You just like should not sleep on this. Like Olivia Wildstein, just first off, her covers are fucking beautiful.
Oh
Like
my God.
they're beautiful. Like
The hardcover,
oh, they're gorgeous.
gorgeous. I mean, the paperbacks are beautiful, but the hardcover, when you take the inside, like, or whatever
Oh
it's
my god.
called, like, and like the fan art,
It's so
and
you know it's really
just,
funny. Who said don't judge a book by its cover? Like I understand that beautiful words can be written inside of like a very nondescript cover, but like everyone's eyes gravitate towards pretty covers. Let's be honest. Like we love a pretty
yeah.
cover. So it's just one of those covers. I was like, wow, this is beautiful, and then I was like, wow, this is a fucking good book too. Like double whammy, gotta
Yeah.
buy it.
No, and it's just like Fallon is the female lead, and like I think that we both said like she kind of was like annoying at first because she's so stubborn, but
Yes,
you come to like love and appreciate her stubbornness, and
and a lot's hidden from her
just
too.
yeah, like she doesn't know, like nobody tells her anything. A lot is hidden from her. There, it gets really spicy in book 2. There is like very, very little, like almost like no spice in book 1, but it's a slow burn and in the best way possible.
Agreed. I think I rated the spice at 2.5, and I always feel bad when people ask. Someone did ask us like, "How spicy is this?" And I was like, "To
Yeah.
me, it's a 2.5. Like, it's not like a. It doesn't consume the plot. It's not like a Zodiac Academy where they're like hitting in all different directions and like shit like that too, like in all different areas. But like, it's good spice. I like the spice,
And Lorcan, well,
Daddy.
that's all I'm going to say because you have to wait till book 2 to get understand. But daddy.
Daddy.
Um, we did Zodiac Academy 4 and 5, and then 6 and 7. This was all to get to the release of book 8. So we did our whatever. And then in December, we did a few Christmassy books. So we did Merry Little Meet Cute. Is the porn star, but no one knows she's
Oh,
a
I was
porn
like, wow, I don't
star.
remember
And
anything about that book.
yeah, so Merry Little Me Cute, I forget their names, of course, but the
Kate?
female main character is an adult entertainment star. And she is like last minute cast as the lead in like a what would be a Hallmark
Yeah.
movie. Because the production, like one of her like producers is getting into out of the adult entertainment industry and into like the Hallmark movie industry. So he like is desperate, so he casts her. So it's supposed to be like this big secret because a lot of people who are working on set are from the adult entertainment industry. The male main character is like an ex boy band member
Yeah.
that she was like obsessed with in her youth. That is a book that definitely, like, if you just want spice, that's the book you read. If like you're looking for like if it's Christmas and you're horny, this is a book that you want to read.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Love Light Farms we also did, and I thought this was I carried on with the series. It was so cute. I actually think the male main character's name is Lucas.
Luca.
Luca. The only reason why there's two reasons why I remember that book and the name, and one's because I've always wanted to name my kid Lucas. Tom shoots me down all the time, and I think I just like really I liked him. Like I liked their childhood best friends to lovers, which is something that you and I love. And
Mm-hmm.
like they both want it but don't admit it and like can't see it and like the whole town sees it. It's just such a fucking cute story.
It's so fucking cute. And yeah, I read the second book in the series. I think that the fourth book I think did just come out or it's coming out
I
soon.
think so.
So I need to read the third. Um it's by BK Borison.
Mm-hmm.
Just like so
It's just
good.
a chef's kiss. It's really good. I liked of all the I've only read the first two. Also, I stopped for the third. I did the audio for the second book. I think I did the audio for the first two, if I'm not mistaken. Um, the audio did not impress me as much for book two. I also just didn't like book two as much as book one. It's still good. It's still a solid read.
Yeah, so cute.
But I really enjoyed book one more. I hear mixed signals, I believe is book three. That I hear it's very
Yeah.
good.
I hear that Mixed Signals is everybody's favorite. I think that Love Light Farms would I think we both gave it 5 stars, but I think that it would have been like even better. We both said this if we got Luca's POV. So
Yes.
book one is only from the POV of the female main character. Book two, you get both, and I think like moving on, you get both the
She
mixed
gets dual.
signals. Yeah, you get dual POV, but in book one, you don't get dual POV, and I would have just like loved his his side of things.
Agreed. Because there's a couple scenes where you're like, you kind of are almost dying to know what's going through his mind.
Yeah,
So I'm with you. It would have been nice.
yeah.
We kicked January
Also,
off with a bang. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you
I
want to keep
know.
going?
Well, no, I was gonna say we also I didn't say, but we also did Sorrow and Starlight, Zodiac Academy book 8. I
Oh,
mentioned before that we did like a reread, but I didn't mention that we also read the 8th book and did a podcast episode. But yeah, we started January with a bang.
Magnolia Parks.
I like my new obsession for the year.
This was your new obsession for the year.
Like I read the first book and I again, Feral. I read the first book. I ordered all 4 that are out currently. They were not coming in time, so then I had to buy them on Kindle. They're so good.
Yes. I still have to finish the series.
I know you have to. You only read the first 2.
Yes. Which I will say, I liked book one. I feel like I remember texting you, Mary, and thinking that like by I think around 30%, I was kind of like, all right, what the fuck? Like I was in like this like lull with it. But I think one thing to note about this is it's character driven. So
Yes,
you have to bear in mind that you're just reading nothing but like it's like the Ravenhood. If you like the Ravenhood series, you'll like Magnolia Parks.
there is almost like no plot to
There's no plot.
Magnolia Parks. It's all character driven. You're going to hate the characters at first, I
Yes.
think, but you like come to love them, especially once you like after I think after book 3, you understand Magnolia and BJ a lot better.
It's all toxic relationships.
It's all toxic, everything, but it's like so good. Like it's like Gossip Girl, but like for adults.
There you have it. I I liked it more than I thought I was going to the point where I ended up
Yeah,
buying the rest of the series. So that says something.
it does.
Ooh, the Umbra King.
Yes, The Umber
Solid
King
book.
by Jamie Applegate Hunter.
Good. Just solid good.
Very good, solid, easy to get into and understand urban fantasy romance.
Can't go wrong. If you want an urban
Can't
fantasy,
go
pick
wrong.
this one up. And book two is out as well. And we both are midway through it. And weirdly, I think we're both on page 200,
Yeah,
ironically.
we
And
are.
again, just enjoying the ride.
Yes,
She's wrapping it up nicely. Thank you, Jamie.
she is. Yeah, it's only a duology. So if you're looking for
Godspeed.
something fantasy that like isn't
It's not
going
that
to be
thick.
all consuming, yeah, like and isn't like a 7 book series, then this
Pick
is a
this
good
up.
one to pick up. Then we did my favorite fantasy series, probably my favorite completed fantasy series since Akatar, maybe. And I said
Go
completed because a
Girls.
lot of them are still ongoing.
Yes.
Like, but Daughter of No Worlds,
It's
it's book
so
one
good.
in the Daughter of Lost Hearts trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. Oh my God, I just loved it so much.
It's really, really good. I have to
That's
still
another
keep up
series you
with.
have to. I would say another series you
This
have
is
to.
a priority. I actually started listening to the audio the other day, but you know what? I started to realize that I wasn't paying attention, so I stopped.
Yeah, that's smart. A
The only
lot
thing,
happens in
yes,
book
I know.
3.
And that's why I'm like, I have to focus. I know what I'm going to do. I already have this all mapped out. In case anyone's dying to know, I am going to start. So on the 15th, Crimson Tide, Crimson River,
Crimson River.
Crimson. Oh my god,
Crimson Tide is what we call my period.
Crimson River comes out by Debbie Ferry, and I need to read that immediately.
Yeah.
So I am not picking up a physical book right now, or I could, I guess. Um, Maybe I will. Maybe I'll start All Over the Worlds tonight, the third book. But I figure once Crimson River is over, that's what I was going to go into to read, and I'll do a normal a normal romance on audio again. So I like
Yeah.
rearrange things to ensure that this was going to happen because I need to finish it because it is so freaking good. We already have a tattoo plan for it.
Yeah. Max is one of my favorite male main characters. Like, I think he's just the perfect man. Like, he is just like so in love with Tasana, and he's like strong and he's like supportive.
You know
Obsessed.
what I like about Tasana, and
Obsessed.
I think this speaks to you especially because like you said this about Gods and Monsters. Tasana has magic, but she's not like all magical being, which this
Mm-mm.
is where I'm at in the book. Like, and you have the thing from like book 1, but she wants to put in the work to get better. Like, she literally with Max, like who does not want to train her, is like staying up all night to work on her magic, all these different things. Like, she's putting in so
Mm-hmm.
much effort, so everything seems believable. Like when
Yes.
she's going through these tasks, um, you're understanding like when she's coming out on the other side of them, like, well, okay, like I understand that like she did well because she's been trying to get better. Like she's got such a conscious, like she's got so much like that's driving her to like be better and do better. I don't know. It's like one again, like you hear about it a lot, but I feel like it still is not hyped the way it's supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
and it needs to be. Everyone needs to read it. And again, it's only a
I
trilogy, and she's not that thick.
Again, not that hard to get through. If you do like audio and you like listening to fantasy on audio and you have scribed, all 3 are on scribed.
I
So
see Winnie in the background.
I know I was gonna say what's moving back there. It's my cat,
So
Winnie.
yeah, and I will say the audio is really good, but again, just because I know myself, I don't want to get distracted and not pay attention.
Yeah, and the third book is all action. Like
Okay.
there is like not a lull in the story for the entirety until like you get to the epilogue.
So there you have it, folks.
I was
At least you
sweating
know
the
what
I
you're gonna
was
get.
sweating the entire time. After that, we did All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. So I got Katie to listen to Culty on audio, and she was obsessed. And I was like, okay, great.
Obsessed.
Let's now do All Roads Lead Here because I hadn't read that one yet. And I loved it.
I love it so much. It's one of those.
Uh,
She's again another author where like she's a go to. You're not gonna
mhm.
read anything bad by her. And the only thing that people I guess complain is that it's such a slow burn. Like
I was gonna
slow, like
say,
slow. Like we're talking like the last 10% of the book that's when you get in like an action. But I don't even care because everything else is so good.
again, very character driven,
Yeah.
very slow burn. If you hate slow burns, then I would not recommend. But if you like a slow burn, I don't think anybody does it better than Mariana Zapata because the burn is so slow, but you like are so invested in the characters that you almost don't care.
Yeah.
And then the only thing that like weirded me out was that she kept calling him Mr. Rhodes, and I'm like, he's like 5 years older than you. Stop calling him
He's
Mr.
not that much
Rhodes.
older, stop. But
It's like, yeah,
I still thoroughly enjoyed that book. I loved it.
same.
That
Like,
same on audio. If you want a good audiobook, that's a great audiobook.
yeah, Daddy Rhodes is so good. Um, Colty, again, like I said on audio, amazing. Wall of Winnipeg and Me, also amazing on audio. I read them, but then also audio them, and the audio was like phenomenal.
It's
And then you listened to From Luke Off with Love on audio, right?
fucking terrific.
Yeah, Teddy
I
Hamilton.
I loved that You can't go wrong with Teddy Hamilton. But I
You
love that
can't.
book.
Then we did Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. So Unfortunately Yours just came out last
I just
week.
finished it.
Did you? I say you just finished it on audio. I mean, it's like a very like run of the mill Tessa Bailey book.
Yep.
Cute. It's not. It's not. It Happened One Summer. It's not hook, line, and sinker, but it's good.
Again, just a classic. I'm gonna pick a Tessa Bailey book up and I'm gonna read it and enjoy it and get
Right.
good smut.
Very mindless rom com with smut.
Yeah. Audio's actually I didn't do the audio for Secretly Yours, but the audio for Unfortunately Yours was very good. It is not available on Scribd. It is on Audible, as an FYI.
As an FYI.
Right
We
man,
did.
right time.
I was gonna say we didn't do it as like a book club pick, but we did do a Megan Quinn interview, like special. So Right Man, Right Move, which was
Right man, right. That's
yeah,
sorry.
which was technically our first hockey romance that we like actively discussed,
Yes.
but it wasn't a
Not
book
like an
club
episode.
pick,
Yeah.
right? But we did have an entire episode dedicated to it because we did interview Megan. I'm obsessed actually with her whole hockey series. So there is like Kiss and Don't Tell, Right Man, Right Time, and I'm gonna forget the name of the last one. Not gonna harp on it. They're just very good. I did audio for the first two. I read Right Man, Right Move. I think we've called it 3 different things. It's Right Man, Right Move, right?
Right man, right time.
Right Move. No,
It's right man, right time. It's on the. I'm looking at the podcast sheet.
I think it's Right Man, Right Move.
That's what I put out on the fucking internet.
Wait, you guys. This is why like I need to just like actually start editing because honestly, like I'm embarrassed.
Right man, right time. I
Oh my
googled
god.
it.
I don't know what. You know what? I think I'm confused. I'm saying Right Move
You just scared the
as
fucking shit out of me. I was like, I've been
as
posted.
what's it
We
called?
posted that.
The Right Move. I'm thinking the Liz Tomford book.
Oh,
By
okay.
Brian Shea.
Motherfucker.
Anyway, Right Man, Right Time. Ignore me. Anyway, really solid. Then we did our first Hermione fanfic.
I liked it.
Breath Mints and Battle Scars.
This was
Could not
by Maggie. And
yes.
I'm glad we started here.
Yes. Like we were gonna start with Manacled, and we haven't read it yet. But I am happy that we didn't start with Manacled because I think it's a much heavier, darker read, and I just don't think we were in that mood.
I think you would have gotten through it okay. Like you would have been like, okay, whoa, deep. I think I would have probably turned around and be like, T, I don't know if I'm gonna finish this.
Yeah.
We know how I am with emotional books.
We do. I normally have to go through ahead of time, read it, and be like, you have to read it. This is what you're in for, and like warn you like ahead of time.
That's what you had to do for me for many a book. So.
Yes. We did A Court of Silver Flames reread where we said that we respected Nesta more, but we still weren't fans of hers.
Correct.
Sorry, not sorry about that. Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Again, it's been a Carissa Broadbent kind of year. Again, amazing. So books 1 and 2 are out. I think that the series will be 6 books in total, but the first 2 books are about a couple. The next 2 will be about a different couple. So it's like a completed duology. There will just be more books in that universe.
Yes. And they're good.
So good.
Solid.
I'm sorry, like I think that she is like on another level as like a fantasy romance author. And if you like fantasy romance, then you have to read The Serpent and the Wings of Night.
Her greatest mistake.
So that was our first actual hockey romance. And we both hated it.
Oh, okay. That's why I don't remember it.
Remember how mad I was getting because like he just like quit the team with like 2 games like left in the Stanley Cup Finals?
You're like, this is not how things work.
If any man, okay, obviously as a hockey fan, like if any player on my team pulled the shit that this man pulled. I don't care. He's supposed to be like the Connor McDavid of this like fantasy NHL world. Connor McDavid is like the best, like undisputed best player in the league. That's like what they said like this guy Maddox was like, right? And then he just like he's just like, I'm going to give up a Stanley Cup, or I'm going to like, because the GM was like mean to my girlfriend. Not even the GM, like the owner of the team. Also, they keep saying that he's so good. He's the best. He's the best. He's the best. And then there's like, oh, but I don't know if I'm going to get a contract at the end of the year. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just had an issue.
You had
I had an issue. And I was really upset that was the first hockey romance that I picked for the podcast. After that, we did a Crescent City reread. So if you want to know our thoughts on Crescent City, that came out. That was May 9th. We're almost wrapped up at the end of the year. Okay, Katie. 5 out of 5.
Dark in here.
Yeah. I mean, Crescent City, I think at its completion will be my favorite fantasy romance series of all time. It's just, there's just nothing like it. If you are non-believers in Hunt and Bryce being actual mates, then you need to reread, because it's literally written for you that they are mates. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. And if you think Hunt's going to die and she's going to get with somebody else, no, when your mate dies, you don't move on. If Reese died, Farrah is not going to move on.
You're right.
Okay, so Hunt is endgame. And if he dies, then Bryce will also probably die with him, okay? On that note, we did Happy Place by Emily Henry. We've already talked about Emily Henry. We love Emily Henry. We loved Happy Place. I know a lot of people took issue with it. No. Perfection. 5 out of 5 stars. There's nothing wrong with that book.
I also think this is my favorite Emily Henry book. Just saying.
Yeah. We did do a special episode, Throne of Broken Gods, with Amber Nicole. That's book 2 in the Book of Asriel series, which we discussed earlier as well. And then the last book, which we did last week, which technically was our 1-year anniversary, not today. Anyway, The Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. It just came out. Everyone's talking about it with good reason. Sure it was amazing.
It's so good.
Also, a correction. Remember how I said that I thought that the dragon names were like of Irish descent?
Yes.
They are Scottish Gaelic.
Okay, so you're not that far off.
Yeah. So I watched a whole video on like some pronunciations.
Okay. And
like what the names mean. And Tarn, I think is hashtag. I have to rewatch the video, so I know that I'm pronouncing it incorrectly again. But his name means thunder.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I know. I'll send you the video. It's really cool.
You'll have to send me it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really, really cool. It's like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. And she goes through, like, breaks down like what the different names mean and like what the correct pronunciation is, which again, really nice of this girl to do that. I'm gonna probably pick up the second book and just completely butcher the names in my head again anyway, but I will try to get them right. But yeah, that's where we're at. We should do better. In life in general, I should be doing better. But like even like sometimes like even when it was like Reese and I didn't know how to pronounce Reese, like when I first picked up Akatar, I was just calling him like something different in my head. Like, I just make up names to characters sometimes.
Well, because if you like harp on a name too much, like it almost like takes away from the book, at least for me, because it's like I'm stuck on like a name and I can't get past it.
Yes.
But yeah, I hear you.
But yeah, so like Xaden's dragon, which is spelled like SGAE, like Y, something like that. She in the comments, because she hadn't finished reading the book yet, so I don't think she got to that name.
Oh, okay.
In the comments, somebody asked, and she was like, "Oh, I think that would be pronounced Scale," which again is a pretty cool dragon name.
That is really cool.
But yeah, but that's basically what we did this year. And if you've been along since the beginning, congrats. Our audio's gotten better. Our recording abilities have gotten better. Our book picks, I think, have stayed pretty consistent. We have good ones. We have yeah.
It's like you don't want to read. Like we try to pick like popular books that we know people are going to read and want to listen to the podcast too.
Right.
But we also want to pick like some little baby underdogs too, because there's other good shit out there.
Right. We want to introduce you to some of our favorites. Like if we even got one person to read Funny Feelings or to pick up a Tara Dewitt book, I will be like the happiest person in the entire world. And if like, I don't know, maybe you were thinking like, oh, like should I pick up Daughter of No Worlds? Like let me like listen to the first one, and now you're like obsessed with the trilogy, then we're doing our job here.
Exactly.
But yeah, thanks for the 1 year.
Thanks for the 1 year.
Did you?
I dipped my toes really quickly into Laura Pavlov. Have you ever read any of her books?
I don't think so.
So she...
No, I haven't. I was thinking Catherine Cowles.
Okay.
I'd like listened to one of hers, but no, I haven't done Laura Pavlov.
I did the Montgomery Brothers series, and again, if like... I did them on audio, which I think I'd recommend, unless you really rather read the physical books, then like go for it. But like if you need something just to like listen to, I think she's going to be another solid like contemporary romance. You get some good spice.
Is she a small town girl?
I would say you could. I think you can classify these as small town. They're billionaires, all the brothers.
Oh, okay.
But there's no third act breakup.
Love that.
I don't know. I actually really liked them. And you, I think in particular, really like book 3 because he's a golden retriever.
I love a golden retriever male main character.
That's how
I've just been in that kind of mood. Like, oh, I love it.
I hear you. And then this is being talked about on TikTok. Forbidden Hearts by Corinne Michaels. And I'm not going to lie, I was fucking into it at first. Like, I couldn't stop fucking listening to this book. And then the plot twist happened. And you lost me.
Yeah, okay. Can you?
I think it would go from like, I think I would have given it like a 4.
Can you please tell, like, okay, spoilers, I want to know because I don't think I'm going to read it.
Okay.
Can you tell me what the plot twist is? Because I was trying to understand in the text thread, like when you and Mary were talking about it, but I thought that like he fucked his sister.
No. Okay.
Like I was like, oh, he got his sister pregnant? I was at the Ed Sheeran concert. I was a little bit drunk on high noons, and I was like, yo, they're reading incest books right now.
No, okay, so this girl comes home from grad school. She's 14 years younger than the guy that she's dating. Okay. She comes home, and she left school because she was dating a professor. And then she didn't know that he was married. Then obviously people talk, word got out, a photo went out. So like she essentially like was like a homewrecker. I guess that's what they were calling her, making fun of her. Poor girl. So she came home. So she starts dating this guy who's 14 years older than her. And she finds out when she went to like her physical to go back to grad school, she's transferring, that she's pregnant. But she's pregnant with the professor's baby.
Okay.
So she contacts him, whatever. He wants nothing to do with the baby. Whatever. Cool. Boom. So she then tells her new boyfriend, who chef's kiss like a true man, takes like a champ, and is like, okay, like, you do what you want to do. She ends up keeping the baby. But she finds that she tells her new boyfriend who the baby daddy is, and it sets him off. Come to find out that his baby sister, this was his best friend. So mind you, they're in 2 different states. They are living in Pennsylvania, and she went to school in Iowa. So this is a professor in Iowa. Iowa and Pennsylvania have a little bit of a distance between the two of them, if you know your geography. They're all from, but like the new boyfriend and the professor are from Michigan, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
New boyfriend and ex-professor boyfriend used to be best of friends and would come home with this guy when they were younger to hang out, and like his family kind of took him in. The new boyfriend, and I forget his name. I should probably look at it so that I can help us out. Hold on, please.
No, I mean this is making sense to me. Okay. Yeah.
So the new boyfriend has a younger sister. She was 16 at the time, and of course, like, it's not rape because, like, I guess you can classify this rape because she was 16 and he was like in his 20s. I don't know, but
okay, so statutory rape, yeah.
Statutory rape here. So, and then come to find out that the sister was pregnant with his baby, but she ended up losing the baby somehow naturally 2 weeks later. So when the new boyfriend finds out who this guy is that knocked up his new girlfriend, he like drives out there all to punch him, and then they drove
Okay.
home. It was just, I don't know, like I would have been okay like after the whole pregnancy thing, like if that's where it was and they moved forward with it, I would have been okay. But then to throw in like the twist of like his baby sister was knocked up by the guy in a statutory rape situation, it just seemed very far fetched to me. Like you come from
Yeah.
Michigan, you're living in Pennsylvania, and then he moves to Iowa. Like how? I get it, small world shit fucking happens and things are crazy, but like it just for me personally, it really like
Yeah.
threw a wrench in like I was like, hold up, I was really fucking enjoying this, and now I'm like, now what? But I think it also I have such strong feelings about the rating because it happened at the end of the book that I'm like
Okay.
forgetting of how good the front end was it, but I still think it's a 3.5.
Yeah. I feel like it could have just done without the whole like, oh, like statutory rape with like my underage sister
Yeah.
storyline.
Yeah, who also was
I,
pregnant and like I don't know. It just like
yeah.
I'm all for like bringing up some rough stuff to like because again, shit fucking happens to people, and I think it's nice when everyone can relate.
Yeah,
This
but
was
it
just
needs to be like it needs to like make sense for the plot. I hate when things
I
are just like
agree.
thrown in to like create drama that it's just like where it's almost like out of like left field.
Yeah, and like again, like the whole premise of the book was they had to keep the relationship a secret because everyone thinks that she's like just immature and not responsible, and like her dad never wanted her to date a cop, and like this guy's a cop, and like when they all kind of release like that they're dating because there is a 14-year age gap, which again I don't know who cares about a fucking 14-year age gap. I, then like no one cared, and like I get that like that's great you want no one to care, but like it was just so much build up, and then like the
Yeah.
guy's like I know you're gonna fall in love with a cop, but it's like but you the whole book she kept saying that her dad didn't want her to be with a cop. I don't know. Just like there's a couple things I was like, I think we could have done that the plot twist to really kind of like build a bit more on them telling people he has a 9-year-old daughter, single dad trope. It is kind of hot. I don't know. Great spice. There was great points. There was like that little bit of chunk right there that I would have been just like ripped out and then thrown away. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
Beautiful cover.
It was yeah, I saw the cover. It did look pretty.
um, And I will say, if anyone wants a good fantasy book that has a really interesting, unique magic system, Good Spice, Court of Blood and Bindings. I hear book two is not as good
Okay.
as book one, but just in case anyone's out there that's wondering,
I was wondering.
I figured you are. Oh, and a solid witchy book. If for any of my witchy people out there, sorry, I got one more. Okay, but let's talk about this for a second because I fucking hate
Okay.
when people have witchy books, right? If you're gonna write a witchy story, I want to see some cool fucking magic. I want to know that they're doing magic,
Yes, like
right?
spells and stuff.
Yeah, like incantations. Like I want to see some
Yeah,
chalk drawings, and like this has it, which I appreciated.
that's good. Because I feel like a
Uh,
lot of the times, like, they don't.
yeah, they just kind of like say that they're witches, and then you move on.
Yeah,
Autumn of the Grimoire. Again, it's not like I'm not saying it's a 5-star rating book. I put it as a 4, but I just thought it was a good, solid witchy book.
perfect. Okay, next for me, I guess. Are you done?
Yeah, because then I just went down a rabbit hole of Laura Pavlov. We don't have to talk about each book separate. They're just let's wrap that shit up. It's good. If you want to listen to them or read
Okay.
them, they're good.
I'm not going to go into heavy detail, but I listened as a reread. I listened to the first 3 books of the Addicted series. I've talked about the Addicted series on here before. I'm in love with them. I'm obsessed with them. Even though I know what's going to happen, they're still emotionally draining and they still hurt. And I just like love Lauren Hale so fucking much and Lily Calloway. And like, oh my God, I can't wait to get to Kiss the Sky next. Like, ugh. Anyway, okay. Um, I did In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. And I've seen like In a Jam as like being like a popular like book on book talk, I feel like. I did not enjoy it. I almost DNF'd it. I was at like 65% and I texted you and I was just like, I am getting so annoyed with these characters. Like it was just dragging. This book was so unnecessarily long. Like it
Mm.
was just the same thing over and over and over again for like the first like 70%. And like the plot, okay, so she's like left at the altar by her fiance on her wedding day. And like a few weeks later, she finds out that her grandmother who passed away left her the family farm. And in order for her to get ownership of the farm, she has to be married. again, like it may from like what you learn about the grandmother, the marriage clause makes no sense in like the scheme of the book.
Okay.
So whatever. So she goes back to her hometown. She's like or it's not even her hometown. I think she only spent like a year there in high school, but she had a very close friendship with this guy Noah, who back in high school was like the ugly duckling. He was like overweight and had like bad acne, and just like apparently, again, I forget her name, and I don't even give a shit. Shay, maybe I think her name was Shay. She, yeah, her name was Shay. She apparently was like the popular girl, but like they like had like a very good friendship, and they used to always talk about like leaving this town and never coming back. So like he like went away like for like the summer before college, and she like left to go to college at the end of the summer, and they just like hadn't seen each other in like 10, 15 years, however fucking long it was. I think it was like 12 years. But anyway, she goes back, she sees him, he's like grown into this like stunning like hunk of a man. And she's like, I don't even know if I want the farm. She's like, I just like needed to get away from the city because like my fiance like left me. She just like was going through like a time,
Okay.
understandably. And she tells him like about the clause, and he's like, "Oh, I'll marry you." Like, if it's like it'll just be like business. It'll be a business decision because he also owns a farm. And um, she like brings up the fact that she's like, I like can see like turning this into like a wedding like venue, like an event space. So I was like, oh, this will be cute. Like they'll get married, they'll like work on this like farm together. No, like the bulk of the book is her tutoring his niece. So his sister went to jail, and he like now has like full custody of his niece. And like 90% of it is like her tutoring the niece. And it starts out where she's like, I'm just gonna get like a job substitute teaching at the school, and then like all of a sudden she's like there like full time, and all she talks about is wanting to go back to her like life in Boston eventually. That she like wants to move back and be closer to her friends again, and like she just ends up like turning into this like girl. Like again, this is fine, but I just feel like it went like kind of against what the character was like constantly saying. Um, and then like he makes jam. He like likes making jam. That's like I guess how the in a jam, that's the name of the book. He like experiments with different fucking fruits. And so they get married, and from the minute they get married, all he does is like he'll be like, "Oh, like whatever you want, wife." Like, "Okay, wife." Like, "Oh, like where are you going, wife?" Like he just calls her wife as like a pet name, and it was so irritating. Like on one page I counted it like 10 times, and I was just like, this is too fucking much. And he was like kind of like a dick to her. Like she was constantly thinking that he hated her. And like it just like I was just like, well, I just did not like them. And she also was like, "Oh, I like to wear like funny quirky earrings. Like I have like fish earrings, like lobster earrings, and like my ex-fiance like hated my like silly earrings." Like she's a kindergarten teacher. She's like, "Okay, wear your funny earrings to school." But she like makes them like she's supposed to be this like cool like girl, and then she's wearing like lobster earrings. I don't know. Like I just didn't like the book.
So this bitch in her lobster earrings can go screw. Teresa didn't like it.
Sorry. Anyway, moving on, a book that I really did like, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Loved it. It's I guess it's why I feel like it's YA. I don't know if it's going to become more like
Okay.
adultish as it goes on. They are like 19 and 20 years old, so it's like that in between. Is it YA or is it like new adult? But a very like unique magic system, very unique like world building, and I just really liked it. So if you're looking for like something a little different than the typical fantasy Divine Rivals, The Charm Offensive by Allison Cochran. It is an romance, and it's basically like it's basically like The Bachelor, but the lead ends up being, he doesn't really give himself a label. So he's neurodivergent, and he ends up falling in love with his handler, like who is openly gay. And it's like a very nice, like, love story. I really, really liked it. I listened to The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. It's a YA romance. If you're like looking for something very like light and cute, it was cute. And the narration was great. And then today I finished The American Roommate Experiment, which is the second book in the Spanish Love Deception, like interconnected standalone series by Elena Armas. And I loved the Spanish Love Deception. I think you did too, right?
I love that book. Yeah.
This one was really cute,
Okay.
but not as good. Like I would give it like a 3.5. I just felt like there wasn't like, I feel like we were told that there was like chemistry with the characters and like we would get glimpses of it, but then I also felt like their dialogue was like a little like choppy at times.
Okay.
But I liked the storyline and I liked the characters.
All right. So
So it
another
was,
like solid book if you want to, but if you don't,
yeah,
that's
I'm not like going to be like, you need to read this, but it was mediocre. It was like, I'm happy I read it, but I'm not going to be like talking about it.
okay. I like it.
Yeah. But that's where we're at. Next week we are going to be doing A Rogue of One's Own by Evie Dunmore. So the first book was The Duke, Bringing Down the Duke.
Thank you. I was like, I just looked this up.
They're interconnected standalones, so you don't have to read the first one first. We are going to be talking about the second book in the series, but again, interconnected standalones, so you can read them out of order. And then we'll do another Spilling the Tea, and then I think June's over, and then we got to talk about July.
Yeah. And we've got some. We have to. I have a couple. It's weird because you know what? We'll talk off camera.
Yes, we will talk off camera.
No one needs to hear our banter about this.
No, you guys don't. Katie's moving this week. That's pretty much it. That's it. That's the only thing that's like new for us.
And honestly, like it's move number 9. Fuck me.
But also, it's big news because Katie will now be within like 10 minutes walking distance to me.
So like if we drove,
like,
it's literally like a 2-minute drive.
Yes.
God bless. We didn't get to like because I'm moving into the same apartment complex I lived when I first lived next to you, but we didn't get to like enjoy the fruits of said living situations because it like COVID hit.
Yes.
And then I broke my lease to move home to save money for our wedding. So
yeah,
we weren't there very long, but now we're going back.
Now we are going back. And honestly, this is great for us. We will podcast more together. We will do more TikToks together. We'll probably take more photos.
Together.
Honestly, like we live 25 minutes apart, but you would think that it was like an hour because I mean, we see each other a lot, but like never to like, it's never like convenient where I'm like, oh, like
yeah.
Yeah.
Even today,
you know,
like it was like, are we hanging out? Like, what are we doing? Like,
especially now because Katie's a full ass mom.
Yeah, I am. I'm a full ass mom.
Yeah, you are. But yeah, that is all we got for you guys. So I will let Katie take it away.